Hi guys, this is Hirosaki. This story is all about what if Naruto was given a time travel jutsu. After receiving a time travel jutsu as payment for a mission, the original 4 members of Team 7 each get a chance to go back to one event in their life and change it. Surely, they will use such an awesome power responsibly, right? Don't count on it. Before we start, kindly like and subscribe to this channel and look over the description box for the author of this amazing storyline. Welcome aboard. Chapter 9, You Smell of Snakes. Are you sure you want to go through with this? Minato asked his son the morning of the Chunin exams. It doesn't matter if I wanted to or not, Naruto said grimly. Kakashi threatened to make us train with Guy for a year if we don't. Minato winced sympathetically. Well, I just don't want you getting involved with something you can't handle. You don't think I can handle this? Naruto asked, a little hurt. Minato shook his head. No, that's not it, it's just, this is dangerous. Really dangerous. You could die, and I know you faced death on that A-rank mission you took, but Kakashi was there to protect you and now you're all on your own. I'm not all on my own, Naruto corrected. I've got Sakura and Sasuke with me and we're going to kick ass. Is that so? Minato asked, sounding amused. Believe it. Naruto declared. And besides, since I've recently achieved my lifelong dream of having a bridge named after me, I need to make Chunin to make progress on my other lifelong dream of becoming Hokage. Minato raised an eyebrow. You had a bridge named after you? Was this in Wave? Do tell. Mom, Dad, I'm going to take the Chunin exams today, so I won't be going on any missions for the next 2 months or so, Sakura announced. Mamako looked puzzled. You're taking more tests? I thought you would be done with that when you graduated. So did I, Sakura laughed. But this is to see if I'm ready to be promoted. I'm sure you'll do fine, Kaisuke told her confidently. You've always been good at tests. Thanks, Sakura beamed, heading for the door. I may not actually be home tonight or for the next week or so, and if that's the case then it's because we're doing a survival test, so don't freak out or anything. Good luck. Mamako called after her daughter. Are you nervous? Itaki asked. Sasuke looked up from his breakfast. Since today was a big day, he was having tomatoes despite their status as usually not a breakfast food. If Naruto could have ramen every day for breakfast, then Sasuke could have tomatoes occasionally. No. Itaka looked at him skeptically. Really? What's the worst that could happen? Sasuke asked rhetorically. People have got to stop asking that, Itaka said, shaking his head ruefully. And you could die, for one. Or fall into a coma. Or get permanently disabled. Or dash. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Sasuke interrupted a bit petulantly. Relax, Sasuke, Itaka told him with a small smile. I'm not saying it will happen to you, just that it could happen at the exams. In fact, I'm sure you'll do just fine. Then why do you think I should be nervous? Sasuke countered. Itaka shrugged. Everyone's nervous at their first Chunin exam, right? Even you? Sasuke asked, surprised. You do realize I was 2 years younger than you when I took it, right? Itaki reminded his little brother. You still won, Sasuke pointed out. True, but even if you don't, you could still make Chunin. Just give them a good show, Itaki advised. I've got to go, Sasuke said, standing up and popping the last piece of tomato into his mouth. Itaka stood up as well to poke him in the forehead. Be good and don't fail. Hey, Kakashi, I was wondering something, Obito said slowly. What's that? Kakashi replied. You know how Genin teams have to complete a minimum of 8 missions in order to be eligible for the Chunin exams. Obito began. Kakashi nodded. You wouldn't think just going shopping or babysitting a few times would qualify you, but then again I suppose that's why this is the first time in 5 years rookies are entering. Your team took quite a few missions, I'll admit, Obito continued. But they only ended up passing the wave escort mission. Even if that was technically an A-rank mission, it still only counts as one. How in the world are they allowed to compete? Kakashi froze. That's a damn good question. I suppose my team did find all the lost pets they were supposed to, even if Sasuke did end up traumatizing them, and since they didn't lose, maim, or kill the children they were watching, those would count, even if they aren't allowed within 10 feet of those missions anymore. Or it could just be blatant favoritism given that Naruto is Minato-sensei's son, you are his student, and Sasuke is my cousin, Obito teased. We're going with the first one, Kakashi said firmly. So ready for the big exam? Anko asked, coming up behind them. I believe my students are properly motivated, Kakashi replied. Plus, it will let me off the hook as far as that punctuality thing goes. You are never going to be off the hook, Anko informed him seriously. Yeah, you think it's bad when you're dating or engaged to someone? Obito asked rhetorically. Wait until this is over and you get married. It's like Rin made it her mission in life to make sure I wind up where I need to be on time. She's given me plenty of tips as an engagement present, Anko said cheerfully. Kakashi groaned. I knew I should have stayed single. What was that? Anko asked, pulling out a kunao. I love you. Kakashi offered weakly. That's what I thought, Anko said sweetly. So who's proctoring the third exam? I heard Hayate was going to do it but realized that with his chronic coughing it might make his job difficult. I volunteered for that, Obito answered. In fact, I was actually the one who convinced Hayate that it might be a problem. Proctors don't necessarily have a very large speaking role, especially for the tournament part of the exam, but in life or death situations the match has to be called quickly, and if he's suffering from a coughing fit someone might die. That would make us look really stupid, Kakashi decided. So you both are proctors, huh? I'm feeling kind of left out. You lost your opportunity to proctor when you entered your kids into the exam, Anko told him. Besides, the only part left would be if there were to be a preliminary round and you wanted to do that instead of Obito or the written exam part, but Ibiki really is the best choice for that. I don't know, Obito said thoughtfully. While I would agree that Ibiki is far more intimidating than Kakashi, Kakashi would probably manage to piss them off and get them to lose their composure more easily, thus narrowing the candidates down. After all it takes is one idiot with an "I'll never give up" speech to get through Ibiki's final test, and that wouldn't really work with the deal with Kakashi's eccentricities final test. True. Anko agreed. It's a little late now, though, and Team 7 is in the exam. We should recommend that for the next time this is held in Konoha. You guys are the worst friends ever, Kakashi said flatly. But you'd be lost without us, Obito grinned. I could easily replace you with a rock, Kakashi insisted. A memorial rock, but still. Team 7 walked onto the second floor to see a sizable crowd standing around watching a mildly hung Izumo and Kotetsu beating up Team Guy. How they thought that would be inconspicuous was anyone's guess. Naruto, of course, went right up to the disguised Chiryunin. Excuse me, can you move? Sorry, kid, we're weeding out the weak, Izumo told him. If you want to enter the exam room, you're going to have to go through us, Kotetsu agreed. Yeah, that's great, but you're blocking the way to the stairwell, Naruto shot back. Stairwell. One of the grass nins who may or may not still be associated with Orochimaru repeated. Look, just because Konoha comes off as rather eccentric doesn't mean we have a different labeling system, Sakura told him heatedly. I applaud your dedication to weeding out those unworthy of becoming Chiryunin, especially if you think that some of the applicants aren't actually capable of telling the difference between the numbers 2 and 3, Sasuke added. The genin surrounding them all suddenly found the floor and or ceiling extremely fascinating. Well, I suppose your team at least passes, Izumo decided. Not that we would have expected otherwise from the stacked team, Kotetsu muttered. Oh, you only wish your team had been as awesome as ours, undercover exam proctors. Naruto declared. Did they say they were undercover exam proctors? A name genin asked. Gotta go, Kotetsu said as he and Izumo quickly left. Excuse me, what is your name? Lee asked as he came up beside Sakura on the walk to the correct room. Harano Sakura, Sakura replied. And you are? Rock Lee, Lee told her with a smile. Would you like to go out with me? I'll protect you until I die. That's certainly very thoughtful, Sakura told him. Tragically, needing to be protected is one of my biggest pet peeves in my teammates, and I decided that puberty would be a lot easier to handle if we didn't date anyone until we made Chiryunin, so I'm going to have to decline. So, if you make Chiryunin and I make Chiryunin, we can go out. Lee asked hopefully. If we both make Chiryunin, ask me again after I've gotten a chance to get to know you better, Sakura told him. I'm not the kind of girl who will go out with someone because they're cute, cool, or strong without getting to know them first. Since when? Ino asked, latching onto Sasuke. You nearly ended our friendship because you didn't think friends could be rivals, remember? Thankfully Naruto and Sasuke have long since convinced me otherwise, Sakura said smoothly. So you're in this exam too, Ino? Yep, Ino nodded. And that other team that graduated with us. Is it really that difficult to remember who we are? Kiba demanded, also showing up with his team. We only had classes with you for 4 years. If my precious Sasuke-kun were on your team, then I'm certain I would remember you, Ino sniffed. I'd be careful of dismissing teammate, Ino, Naruto warned her. They have Shino. So? Ino said, not seeing a need for concern. He does bugs, Sakura explained. You don't want him on your bad side, let's just say. Ew, Ino made a face. Bugs are so gross. Please do not be so troublesome as to let Shino hear you say that, Shikamaru advised her. It would not end well for you. Sakura used to like that boy. Lee pointed at Sasuke. Then I shall challenge him to a fight in order to prove that I am a worthy competitor for her heart. You'll do that by beating up my teammate before the Chiryunin exam starts. Sakura asked skeptically. Your faith is truly touching, Sasuke said sarcastically. As to the fight, I would, really, but I don't think anyone here needs a preview of my skills, and unless you make it to the inevitable one-on-one portion of the exams, the simple truth is you will not be worth my time. Oh, I'll be there, Lee said determinedly. Are you planning on getting off anytime soon? Sasuke asked irritably. Nope, Ino said cheerfully. Sakura, how mad would you be if I were to use dash? Sasuke began. Don't even think about it, Sakura told him sternly. Ino's my best friend, even if she is a fangirl. Fine, Sasuke grumbled and used a substitution jutsu instead. A log. Ino complained. No fair, Sasuke-kun. Though for the record, Sasuke told her quietly. Her fangirlism was never near as obnoxious as watching the competent Kunoichi who helped Naruto convince me to come back to Konoha revert to a silly little girl who would break her most important bonds for the sake of a pretty boy. Yeah, well, thanks for not letting me, Sakura said, a little embarrassed. So you're not a fangirl anymore? Tenten asked. What? No, I outgrew that quite a while ago, Sakura explained. Good, Tenten said vehemently. Because to any serious ninja a fangirl is just about the worst thing to be, and I don't want to have to salvage the reputation of Konoha's kunoichis all by myself. What about Hinata? Sakura asked. She doesn't like Sasuke. Tenten raised her eyebrows. Have you ever seen the way she looks at Naruto? Point, Sakura conceded. Kiba, I think Koji wants to eat your dog, you should be careful with it, Hinata said quietly. What? Kiba yelped. Is that true? Maybe, Koji admitted. I'm hungry. Just eat one of your boxed lunches, Shikamaru advised him. You brought over a dozen. But I might need those to fortify me in between exams, Koji protested. If you try and eat Akamaru, he could very well try and eat you back, Kiba warned. Can you all try not acting like you're 5? Niji asked, standing as far apart from the group as he could without being rude. I agree, Kabuto said, approaching them. You guys should be more quiet. You're just out of the academy, huh? Who are you? Shino asked. I'm Kabuto, Kabuto replied. But don't worry about that. Look around you. The future Konoha 11 plus Sasuke looked around. Quite a few people were glaring at them. Those guys behind you are from Omegakure. They have short tempers. Everyone is nervous about the exam. Quiet down before you cause a scene, Kabuto advised. If these people can't deal with a little noise, then there is no way they are qualified to be Chunin, Sasuke said coolly. And if they start a fight they'll just get thrown out of the exams. I don't see any reason to keep it down. Hey, Kiba, is it just me or does this guy smell like snake? Naruto asked. Kiba sniffed. You know, you're right, he does smell like snake. I do. Kabuto asked, seemingly puzzled. That's strange. I don't like snakes, Naruto told him. Snakes remind me of vampires and vampires are evil. So is this your first time, too? Ino asked. No offense, but you look quite a bit older than us. Oh, no, actually this is my 7th time, Kabuto told them, looking a little sheepish. Wow, you suck, Kiba said bluntly. If I don't pass by 5, I'm just going to resign myself to being a failure who can't beat a bunch of 12 and 13-year-olds and quit. It's not all bad, Kabuto insisted. I know quite a bit about the exam and have ninja info cards on everyone here. How would your retaking the exam repeatedly help you get information on the people who are just now taking it for the first time? Shikamaru asked lazily. Well, does anybody want to see the cards? Kabuto asked, holding them up. I do, Kankuro said as he walked up to them, Temari and Gaara not far behind him. He pointed at Naruto. Tell me about him and his teammates. Kabuto took 3 cards out of his deck. First up is Namikaze Naruto. He's the Hokage's son, and is a Jinchuriki. He has very high ninjutsu and is above average in taijutsu, though his genjutsu is almost non-existent, Kabuto said. Then there is Uchiha Sasuke. He is one of 3 Uchiha to be left alive after the massacre 4 years ago. He has strong ninjutsu and taijutsu and exceptional genjutsu, as well as already gaining the Sharingan and evolving it to its 2nd level. Finally, there is Haruno Sakura, who is taking shifts at the hospital to be a medic nin with decent ninjutsu and taijutsu and very high genjutsu. Their sensei is man down Kakashi, and together they have. He trailed off, looking at the cards in disbelief. What? Kankuro growled. Together they have failed every D-rank mission they have ever been on and have been permanently banned from all future D missions. They have one C rank that had turned A rank and successfully completed it, Kabuto finished, his voice somewhat shaky. Don't you have to have passed 8 missions to take this exam? Temari asked. Hokage's son probably gets special treatment, Kankuro decided. How the hell did you manage to fail the D-rank missions? They are the easiest things in the world. Kiba pointed out. Naruto grinned proudly. It took a great deal of effort planning, but we managed. And now we're banned for life. You say that like it's a good thing, Ino said, eyeing him strangely. Well, it is quite the accomplishment, Sasuke informed her with a smirk. We're the first team to ever be banned from the D ranks. And we'll never, ever have to do any of them ever again, Sakura concluded, beaming. I hate you guys, Kiba announced. No more D ranks, huh? Shikamaru asked. If I plan out how to fail them, would you guys carry it out so we don't have to do them anymore? In a heartbeat, Ino replied promptly. Would Asuma-sensei still take us out for barbecue? Koji asked. I'm sure he'd be so thrilled to not have to supervise those chores that he would, Shikamaru assured him. Have I mentioned this place is full of crazy people? Kankuro asked. I believe so, Tamari answered. Well, I would just like to reiterate that, Kankuro said. Who is he? Hinata asked, pointing to Kankuro. He doesn't seem very open-minded. Let's see, Kabuto said, drawing another card. That's Kankuro. He's the son of the Kazekage and has completed 8 C-rank missions and 1 B-rank mission. I would say that's very impressive, but Sasuke's team did an A rank. He mostly uses puppets in his fights. Evil soulless puppets. Koji asked, eyes widening. Sakura looked to Naruto in confusion, but he was currently hiding behind Shikamaru. Hide me, he begged. This is so troublesome, Shikamaru sighed. As long as I don't have to actually do anything. Naruto's been back for a few years and at some point, he gave everyone a huge lecture about why puppets were evil, Sasuke explained in a whisper. I think that was when the girls were off picking flowers or something, though. It was more than just picking flowers. Sakura hissed indignantly. Although we did do that. How can you stand having such an evil brother? Naruto asked Tamari. She shot a quick glance at Gaara. Practice. Hey, whose side are you on, anyway? Kankuro complained. I feel sorry for you, Naruto told Gaara frankly. Gaara looked at him suspiciously. Why? Because your evil older brother hates everybody younger than him, of course, Naruto replied. I'm more than capable of handling his hatred, Gaara replied impassively. Doesn't make it right, Naruto insisted. Seriously, how can he not love kids? They're adorable. Hey, Naruto, your friend smells like raccoons, Kiba announced. Better than smelling like evil like Kankuro, Gaara muttered. Naruto started, then grinned. My sentiments exactly. Chapter 10, If we need to cheat, ask harder questions. And remember, outside of the second task, killing equals disqualification, so please wait to sake your bloodlust until after the exams. Ibiki finished explaining the exam's code of conduct. But Gaara wasn't disqualified last time because he fought me, Sasuke whispered to Sakura. So how did he manage to not kill anyone during the preliminaries? Sakura thought back. He fought Lee, remember? He crippled him and Lee had to undergo that life-threatening surgery and rebuild all his skills from scratch. Sasuke shook his head. No, I had my own medical issues I was dealing with back then. Instead of your current seating arrangements, you will be assigned a number, Ibiki explained. Please form a single file line. Once again, everyone was split up and once again Naruto was seated next to a fellow rookie. Unlike before, however, it wasn't Hinata. Yes. Naruto cheered. Best seat ever. Why? Where are you seated? Sakura asked. I'm right next to Shino. Naruto explained happily. And that makes it the best seat ever, why? Sakura asked again because she knew that, curious or not, Sasuke was never going to. Of course, Naruto nodded. Shino does bugs, after all. We know that, Sasuke felt the need to remind him. So you should see why I'm loving my seat arrangement, Naruto shot back. Just tell us, Sakura sighed. Termites are a kind of bug, Naruto informed them. You mean? Yep, Naruto nodded gleefully. Shino is my ultimate Kankuro defense. For the love of God, you do not need protection from me. Kankuro burst out from a few feet away. Naruto was rather loud, after all, so he'd heard half of the conversation at any rate. Although if you keep this up, you're threatening me while trying to convince me that you're not evil. Naruto asked incredulously. Temari, Gaara, I applaud you for staying sane as long as you have. Temari's eyebrows rose. And now my sanity is being compared to Gaara and not in a, maybe you should spend less time in the sun, kind of way. Alright, find your seats, Ibiki ordered. As they were finding their seats, Sakura pulled Ino aside. Ino, if you use your jutsu on me, I'm going to give you an impromptu haircut like mine. If you use it on Sasuke, he'll probably go on a revenge date with some other girl. Aren't you going to warn me off copying from Naruto? Ino asked, shuddering slightly at Sakura's threats. I would, Sakura acknowledged. But since if you tried it with him the Kyuubi could very well eat you, so I think I'll let you use your own judgment. Looking distinctly pale, Ino resolved to pick a different team to cheat from. Team 7 paid little attention as Ibiki attempted to psyche them out and hint that they needed to cheat while advising them not to do so carelessly. Sakura wondered briefly why, seeing as how they practically advertised that you could cheat 4 times with relative impunity, anyone would cheat more than that. Granted, that meant getting only 4 answers, but all that was important was making sure you didn't get 0. Or all that was supposed to be important. Begin, Ibiki said, and the race was on. 20 minutes into the exam and the competent ones were just figuring out that they were supposed to be cheating when Sakura threw down her pen triumphantly. Done. She called, wisely turning over her paper and glaring pointedly at Ino to minimize the chance of anyone being able to cheat on her. Sasuke and Naruto said nothing but started writing faster. Another 10 minutes into the exam and Sasuke also put down his pen after thoughtfully penning some advice to the examiners. If you want to make us cheat, you should try giving us some harder questions. Granted, only Sakura, and, he supposed, Shikamaru, if he could have been bothered, had been able to answer the questions as genin, but for those who had already passed the exam it had just been a matter of doing the work. Damn it, Naruto growled, finishing up 5 minutes after that. Why am I always last? Because you suck, Sasuke said bluntly. Quiet down back there or we're taking points, Ibiki warned. They probably should take points anyway as the conversation could very well be coded, but the girl had only said one word and both boys had only started to speak after they had finished. Right after Naruto finished, Kankuro suddenly had to go to the bathroom, and what Naruto's puppet senses very clearly declared to be a puppet handcuffed him and escorted him there. It was creative, he supposed, and audacious, but given the fact it had puppet lines on its face, how could Kankuro honestly not realize that he was being allowed to get away with it? Or was that part of the lousy security Orochimaru had convinced them Konoha had in order to persuade them to invade? Finally, Ibiki seemed to decide enough teams had been weeded out. Now, for the 10th question. Let me preface this by saying that you don't actually have to take the question. Once you agree to take it, though, you have to answer it. What happens if we choose not to take it? Temari asked curiously. Then you fail, obviously, Naruto told her, enjoying his complete and total lack of desperation. Otherwise, what would be the point of having a 10th question if you didn't need to answer it and there were no penalties for not doing so? Indeed, the boy whose teammates managed to beat him in the exam is right, Ibiki said. Hey, I did it without cheating, how many other people can say that? Naruto demanded. Kabuto raised his hand. You're practically ancient, Naruto said dismissively, and this is your 7th time so you don't count. Not only will your teammates fail if you fail, but if you do take the 10th question and get it wrong then you will never be able to become a Chunin. Ever. Your teammates, however, will be able to reapply in 6 months, Ibiki told them. Didn't Naruto say that Kabuto guy took the exam 7 times, though? Kiba questioned. How does that work? I haven't been a proctor at Kabuto's other exams. This year, I am so I can do basically whatever I want. Ibiki declared, looking like he was about to burst into maniac laughter at any moment. No one wanted to be the first to quit, so no one said anything for a minute. I'm out, one of the plants finally announced. Looking pissed, his teammates followed him to the doorway. Me too. Another plant said. And me. An actual genin disqualified themselves. It was kind of tiring, watching team after team that had traveled all this way to Konoha back out at the first sign of difficulty. Finally, only 17 teams remained including, of course, the 4 from Konoha, Kabuto's team, Gaara's team, the potentially secretly Orochimaru team, and the Oto team. So are the 51 of you that's left absolutely sure that you want to do this? Ibiki asked them seriously. For about the 30th time. Look, your cunning plan to annoy us into quitting is pretty brilliant, I'll admit, Naruto said tiredly, but our sensei makes annoying people a hobby and already threatened to make us train with Guy in the morning until he showed up if we don't pass. Ibiki blinked. Doesn't he start training at 4:30? The better to get the most out of the youthful hours when the sun is just rising. Lee confirmed excitedly. We can't take that for a year, Sasuke confided. So no matter how many times you ask us, we're not giving up. The exam proctor winced sympathetically. That's the spirit, Anko throwing herself through the window and throwing various weapons at the genin still seated. How else will you get your revenge? I really wish you wouldn't encourage him, Anko, Naruto said, shaking his head. There's nothing wrong with a little encouragement when it comes to reaching your goals, Anko replied innocently. There is when it's Sasuke. Sakura muttered. Anko, I wasn't done with the test yet, Ibiki told her tersely. Since the first portion of the exam is clearly over though, you guys pass. Huh? Ino gasped. Why? Ibiki opened his mouth to explain but Anko beat him to the punch. You'll take too long, she told him frankly. You were supposed to cheat unless you're some kind of genius or have been a genin far too many years. If you sucked at cheating and got caught being obvious 5 times, you were out. If you agreed to take the exam or hypothetical, dangerous mission, then you at least have the broadest characteristics of a Chunin and if you're too scared to take it, then you don't deserve the title. Who are you? Kankuro demanded. And why did you throw deadly projectiles at us? I'm Anko and I'll be your second examination proctor, Anko announced. As for why, well, if you let it hit you then you wouldn't be ready to be Chunin. So you tried to kill us. Kankuro repeated. Oh, good point, you haven't signed the waivers yet. Anko mused. Well, follow me and we'll get right to that. Is it too late to quit? Kabuto asked. Yes, Anko snapped. But don't worry, you'll get a second chance after the second exam. That won't be very helpful if we die, Kabuto pointed out. Then don't die. Honestly, kid, if you're this worried maybe you should have quit while you were ahead a long time ago. Anko muttered, heading off towards the forest of death and expecting the Chunin hopefuls to be following her. So how do you think they're doing? Minato asked. Kakashi looked up from his ever-present book. Apparently, the various changes they made, Minato being alive, Naruto being a part of his life, forcing him to actually spend time in Konoha, had made enough of an impact on Jiraiya that his books were different. Not to say they were really any better or worse, and definitely not more appropriate, but it was nice not to have to wait until they reached the point where the author had originally died to get some new material. My minions. They aren't your minions, Kakashi, they're your students, Minato said, trying to look stern and failing. Really? Because back when Obito and Rin joined us to form a team you were singing a different song, Kakashi countered. That was Jiraiya-sensei who called you guys my minions and then he said something about how he was going to write a spy smut novel, Minato reminded him. You didn't correct him, Kakashi insisted. It's Jiraiya-sensei, Minato pointed out. Would correctly him really have done any good? I supposed not, Kakashi conceded. That was a good book he wrote about that. Although I was a bit put out that the character that was based on me didn't get the girl. Well, to be fair you didn't get the girl, so if he wanted to be accurate, he had to have Obito's character end up with her, Minato said levelly. True to life. Kakashi snorted. Have you ever read those books, Minato-sensei? As the Hokage who must set an example for his people, I'm afraid I cannot answer that question one way or another, Minato said virtuously. Yeah, set an example, all right. Kakashi shook his head. You know, there's a reason Naruto calls every other shinobi he meets a closet pervert. I'm starting to think there's a correlation between ninja power and perversion, Minato confessed. As the only other way to explain the fact that all powerful ninja are raging perverts is some sort of societal problem I might be forced to address. I can definitely see the connection, Kakashi said quickly. You just want to be able to read your books in peace, Minato accused. Kakashi merely shrugged. Oh, that's right, I never did answer you about my minions. I think they'll be fine. Are you sure? Ibiki is the first examiner, you know, Minato said anxiously. Kakashi rolled his eyes. He's not going to torture them without a waiver and Anko said she's handing them out at the second exam, so don't worry. There's always psychological torture, Minato pointed out. Your son doesn't actually believe in giving up and making him doubt himself will just make him come back 10 times harder, Kakashi assured his mentor. I know but I'm still not sure he was ready. I mean, a lot of the exam is about teamwork as solo missions are usually a jounin only thing and he's known Sasuke for years so they should be able to work together alright, but what about the other one? Haruno Sakura? Minato asked. He never really interacted with her before you wanted her on your team. You met her at the dinner, remember? Kakashi asked. It might have taken a while, but she and the boys have the whole camaraderie thing down pat. Taken a while? Minato repeated. They've been a team for 4 months. And what a 4 months it has been, Kakashi said. So she's not a fangirl then? Most kunoichi I've seen have been at that age. Although by the time of their first Chunin exam they are usually over it, Minato acknowledged. She's over it as well, Kakashi replied. Rin was never a fangirl even when she did have a crush on me. Minato shrugged. I think it was the war. Let's hope we can keep the peace as long as we can, Kakashi said sobering. Especially with all the sacrifices we've had to make. Minato nodded his agreement. I agree with you that the Chunin exam is an excellent time to strike with all the foreign nationals running about and hopefully our increased security will be enough to make sure that if anyone tries something they won't succeed. One final word of advice, Anko said after she finished explaining the rules and mildly molesting Kiba who couldn't keep his mouth shut and got a kunai wound to the cheek that she just had to lick. Don't die. That's good advice, Naruto decided. Since we didn't sign the waiver yet, can I sue her? Kiba wondered. That depends if the waiver says that it covers actions that happened before you signed it, Shikamaru told him. Read the fine print. Keeble looked slightly panicked. On the other hand, I'm sure I can just challenge Naruto when this is all over and his therapy jutsu will get me past this. His sensei's engaged to her, so I'm sure he's gotten mildly molested before. Naruto shuddered. I don't want to talk about it, so, Gaara, what did you think of the first part of the test? It was easy. It was, Naruto agreed. I didn't even need to cheat. Which is fortunate as it wouldn't have occurred to you to do so anyway, Sasuke pointed out. That was one time. Naruto protested. And your morals wouldn't have let you do it even if it had occurred to you, Sakura added. You know, I am this close to defecting to Gaara's team and letting you deal with Kankuro for 5 days, Naruto threatened. Oh, please do. Kankuro pleaded. Coward, Temari accused. You can't just defect to Suna, Naruto, Sakura said, shaking her head. Why not? Naruto demanded. Your dad would probably be pissed seeing as how he's the head of Konoha, she pointed out. So? What's a little teenage rebellion? Naruto asked rhetorically. If you're not there and we should meet that man, then I cannot guarantee Sakura would be enough to stop me from murdering him on the spot, Sasuke contributed. Naruto winced. Sorry, Gaara. Maybe next time. Gaara, who hadn't expressed an opinion about Naruto changing teams one way or another and wasn't sure that was even allowed, blinked at him. Next time? I thought you intended to pass. Jounin exams. Are there Jounin exams? Sasuke asked. I have no idea, Naruto confided. Do you guys even live in Konoha? Sakura asked incredulously. Everyone head to your gate, Anko's voice rang through the crowd. Gotta go guys, Naruto said, waving goodbye to the Sand siblings. Good luck to Mary. Why's that? She demanded. You think I'm weak? Oh, God no, Naruto shook his head. But you're going to be stuck in there for 5 days with your psychotic younger brother. Still, at least you'll have Gaara. Okay, first I'm evil, now I'm psychotic, I am never coming back here again, Kankuro swore. Gaara, meanwhile, was considering building a vacation home there. These people were clearly a lot saner than those he'd left behind in Suna. That's it for this reading. Hit like and subscribe for a free ticket pass going to the different worlds of anime fanfictions. Looking forward to having you on board again.